Okay then guys, we are back, and today we have got something a little bit different as the Jet Brigade have returned, except this time they've returned with an almighty new force of the Jet Brigade Hulks and the Jet Brigade Devastators. You will have noticed this as we've got a brand new automaton major order, which we'll get into in a little while, but irrelevant to it, we're going to be showing you guys exactly how they act, what they do, what they look like, and how to combat against them. These things are absolutely crazy, so I can't wait to show these to you and bring you guys the info that you need to know. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, post notifications turned on, and naturally we're still doing the giveaway, so red love heart in the comment section will enter you in. We'll be announcing that one in just a couple of days. But that being said, let's dive into the game and see what it is that's happening inside of the Jet Brigade on Helldivers 2. So, starting off, we've got two brand new people inside of the game. We have got the Jet Brigade Hulks and the Jet Brigade Devastators. Now, I will say the Jet Brigade Devastators don't make a massive impact. You will notice them, and they are jumping around a lot like the Troopers originally were, but a lot like the Troopers, they are very easy to take out. They haven't come in terms of the Berserkers, so there are no chainsword Jet Brigade running around, but you will notice that the Devastators are jumping about and causing carnage. I personally didn't feel a massive difference in terms of gameplay, other than the fact that they got a lot closer a lot quicker, but other than that, they were just as easy to take out and didn't really cause much damage in terms of difficulty standard. It seemed to work on a bit more of a balanced basis. So for overall, if you are running the automatons, then use anything that you normally would to deal with those on a general one. But when we take a look at the Jet Brigade Hulks, this is where it works a little bit differently. The Hulks won on a 2 main crit shot damage point, so you are primarily aiming for the eye on the front or the heat sink on the back, except now the heat sink has now been covered over by a ginormous jetpack. This is where things get a little bit skeptical, because we're kind of trying to figure out whether the actual numbers on this correlate so that it's still dealing a crit damage basis. They don't blow up the way that the Troopers do. Don't expect to be able to shoot the jetpacks and just blow up the Hulk really, really easily, because unfortunately it doesn't operate the same way as what the Troopers are. So we're going to have to make sure that we cover ground to be able to take these things out, and make sure that we're watching out for them coming over the top. Now, what I will say with regards to the Jet Brigade Hulks, though, is that they are extremely balanced. This was not something I was expecting to say. When I saw these things come up, I was expecting it to be chaos and carnage. And don't get me twisted, it's the automatons, so it's definitely chaos and carnage. But surprisingly, the Jet Brigade Hulks are actually very, very balanced. You only really come up against a couple of them in one go, unless you allow yourself to be overrun. So any clips you see on Reddit, that's them actually just like hoarding them up together. They are really balanced. Maximum in about 4 hours of managing to play through them, we had about 2 of them jump through together. Other than that, they don't all just hop along the way that the Troopers do. They have definitely got a little bit more of a in-depth AI service to them, which kind of shows inside of the gameplay that you'll see in the background. Overall, though, they do jump a decent way, so expect these jetpacks to be bloody strong, although they don't jump up in your face the same way that a trooper would do. There's a bit more of a distance there in terms of a gap, so what it means is that you've got a bit more of an availability to be able to combat against them with some supply weapons. For me, I'm really happy with them, and I think that they've been designed very, very well, and that's just my 2 cents on it before we show you guys how it is that I've been combating against them. If you've already played against them, though, let me know in the comment section exactly what you guys are thinking of the new Jet Brigade additions. For me, it's a massive W for Arrowhead, and they've done really, really well with this new content, and I can't wait to get back in and start diving all over again. Taking a look at what it is that we're doing, though, with returns to the game and how it is that we combat against them personally, there is a few different ways that you can actually go about this. Now, before we get into it, I do want to state that this is just how I deal with these Hulks. This is not the meta. This is not going to be a basis of this is the best build going, but it's how I actually play it and how I have the most fun with it. With that being said, let's dive on into the in-game screen and see what it is that's happening with my build personally. So there are a few things that I do enjoy using. Naturally, the first one is going to be the Eruptor. The Eruptor for me is absolutely incredible for dealing with a lot of the lower level enemies, and if you manage to get your shots off right, you can still deal enough damage to the Hulks because it's running AP4, and you're actually able to take them out like that. If you manage to get them taken out while they're in mid-jump and in mid-flight, though, more power to you, because my lord, that thing is bloody difficult to do. But you are going to be utilizing the AP4 quite a lot in that basis. Another weapon that I am primarily using right now for the automatons is the Plas1 Scorcher. These two are my primary weapons that I like using against automatons. Again, not meta, just what I have fun with and what works with my play style. So feel free to give it a go yourself. When we start taking a look at how it is that I've managed to customize them, though, naturally, we're going to run an iron sights on this. And I have got the vertical flashlight foregrip. That's just the way that I like operating it. It keeps the recoil down really, really low. Even if I unlocked the last one, it wouldn't really help me out too much. But it keeps a low recoil, and that's just how I like playing that one. For those of you guys who are wondering how I deal with the Eruptor, then again, we're running the iron sights because everything else retracts against it. And I like to try and keep it down to a basis of keeping the ergonomics as low as possible, which is why I've not really ran anything else bar the angled foregrip. And recently I've been enjoying using the laser sight. So if you want to go ahead and copy those, then you can do. For me, they're the two better weapons in terms of options. I know that there are other ones that are viable. And for those of you guys who like playing stealth, you'll obviously want to play things such as the Deadeye or even the counter sniper and stuff like that. That's absolutely fine. Just my opinion, this is what I've had fun with. Mainly because you can combat against most things using those two weapons alone. Obviously, with the Scorcher, doesn't work so much with the Hulks. You want to focus on that AP4 from the Eruptor with that. Secondly, we have got this weapon right here, which is the P92 Warrant. Now, I've used this for pretty much everything. This works really, really well against the troopers, and with the tracking, especially them flying through the air, it's really easy to be able to just pick them off and deal the damage offset that way. Or if you're wanting to go a little bit more heavy powered, you can also use the Ultimatum, which I have been running as well, and it works really, really well as that emergency off-put if you've got nothing left in terms of any sort of support weapons. It's going to be a nightmare. I'm fully aware, so taking the ultimatum will definitely help you in some sticky situations with some Hulks as well. Grenades, though. Grenades for me has got to be the Pyrotech all day, every day. This thing has some incredible incendiary damage, and it works just so well that I just can't tend to take it off. Obviously, if you want to run the Thermite with the Hulks, you can stick them on. It still does the same amount of damage as it once was before the Jet Brigade variants came in. So one Thermite will take one Hulk out, and it's going to work just so smoothly. So again, if you want to run your Thermites, do. But again, if you're a Pyrotech maniac like I am, then go ahead and operate with that one. Now, when we take a look at how it is that we run our stratagems, we have got a pretty basic stratagem listing. And we, again, have run this for about 4 hours. So I know full well that this operates really, really well. And it's no different to what it is you would have expected it to be, given it being normal Hulks. The orbital laser is always a must for me. It's something that I always have to take with me, just because it's just one of those trustworthy ones, and I'm waiting for them to put it up to 4 uses. 4 is the perfect number to get you through a larger one, so I'm begging that you actually do that at some stage. Irrelevant to it, though, different video altogether. That, for me, is probably the key feature, alongside the 500 kg, which helps you really deal with those striders that are knocking around at the same time, because you haven't really accounted for those when it comes to the actual gameplay. You focus more on the Hulks actually being able to jump around and the Jet Brigade dealing more damage. In terms of your weapon, though, for me, it's the recoilless rifle all day, every day. There are obviously other weapons that people can use, and for recent, being able to control things around it, the de-escalator has worked quite nicely in terms of being able to get rid of everything loading around it and using the Eruptor to deal the damage offset with the AP4. That's just my personal opinion, but I've been running the recoilless rifle alongside the standardized rocket sentry. That is, for me, your go-to, running that alongside the armor of the B-22 model Citizen, which gives me Democracy Protects, is probably my easiest loadout for this, and that's how I found to be the most effective way for me to be able to play against these new automaton strains. Now, they are very, very good, and they are really enjoyable. I do recommend lowering the level, though, if you struggle with automatons on a normal basis. They are still going to be quite difficult, and it is going to be something that you're not going to enjoy if you are just going to jump into a level 10 and expect to be able to run it quite smoothly. It's not going to work. You have to obviously make sure that you play it to a certain level and be careful with what it is that you're dealing with. Using the recoilless rifle and stuff like that, having that damage offset to things like turrets, as well as your Hulks and stuff, is absolutely incredible. But for me, this is a really, really good addition to the automaton side, and I actually can't wait for them to bring in a whole new core. I'm hoping that it comes at some stage. The Jet Brigade has been around since I can bloody remember, and if they could bring something in brand new, then that would be absolutely amazing. But for me, the bog standard works so damn well. It's pretty much your old reliable at this point, or at least it is for me. Again, this isn't a meta loadout. This is just me telling you how I've been getting rid of them and how I've operated in it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and you can go ahead and deal with your hulks accordingly, because my lord, it's a lot of fun out there. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, post notifications turned on. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for another news update. But as always, until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.